Hey, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you live on a Friday night uh, here, August 19th, 2022. And we're talking with MSU number one fan who's been on here quite a bit. And we're here to talk pretty much probably the last time him and I will talk before the season gets started. But how you doing, buddy? And just talk about some Michigan State. How are you feeling going into the season?
I'm doing good. Um, Michigan State right now has a second string quarterback battle between Noah Kim and Caton Hauser, a true freshman. And Caton Hauser might be starting in some games.
Yeah, that's a big thing there. I've seen your recruiting class, but the first thing before we get into recruiting and all that, the first thing I want to bring up, Coach Mel Tucker, I read online, said that the Big Ten expansion is great exposure for Michigan State. As a fan of the Big Ten, as a fan of Michigan State, are you on board with what your coach said that it's great for the Big Ten and it's great exposure? How do you view conference realignment in general and really where the Big 12, the Big Ten, I'm sorry, is heading?
I think it's great that it's going nationwide. So we can recruit kids on the West Coast at the West Coast games, Midwest kids, Midwest games, East Coast games. Labor recruiting now that I think is good for the conference.
Yeah, I would think so too. I think it helps in recruiting. You mentioned West Coast games too, because I mean, think about UCLA and USC joining the Big Ten. You're talking about going coast to coast there. You're talking about traveling to California if you're a team like Michigan, Michigan State. These pretty good teams in the Big Ten. They're doing the traveling. They're working at it and I think it's a good way to help recruiting in many ways.
Yes, and also we wouldn't mind it come November.
Oh, absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. We're talking Michigan State football with MSU number one fan. Um, Talk to me real quick about some breakout freshmen in East Lansing this year coming up. You guys have recruited greatly. When you look at Jeremy Bernard or even quarterback, we talked about it before we went live, Cade Hauser in the 2022 class. What freshmen this year stand out? Who should we keep an eye on? And speaking of Cade Hauser, is there much of a quarterback battle this year?
So I got three freshmen right here on my list. Number three is Antonio Gates Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
the son of Antonio Gates, who played with San Diego.
Yeah.
I think he's more going to be a kick returner, and Jay Murray's going to be our number one receiver. So do you want your best receiver kick returns um risking his knees? I think they put somebody else back there too.
Okay.
Number two is Caton Hauser. Right now, battle second string quarterback for the job.
Right.
Number one is Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver. Him and Cam Hauser went to the same high school, committed to Washington. Their OC left and didn't tell him. Then came to Michigan State.
Yeah, there's definitely quite a bit of freshmen. I see here. You mentioned Caton Hauser. I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he could do. A four-star recruit, pretty well built, 6'3", 195 as a freshman quarterback. You mentioned Jeremy Bernard, who I think was a highly rated receiver. He's out of state. It's cool to see that you guys go out of the state of Michigan when you recruit too. I see some guys on here from like Louisiana. I see a guy on here from Birmingham. He probably won't start, but the recruiting seems to be on track. The thing for Michigan State is the talent is there. It's going in a right direction. They just got to put it on the field and win, right?
Yes, I think we proved that last season too. Not to mention the transfer portal too.
Yeah, transfer portal's big. Talk to me real quick about. I didn't make a banner or anything for it, but are you familiar much with Amir Speed from Georgia? And is that a player that maybe we could see take the field?
I feel like he's going to be our starting corner. To have him help us out with the pass coverage, him and Xavier Henderson both back there, experienced guys. Especially with guys like Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. He'll be matched up on Amir Speed would be my guess.
Okay. So
And
some of the bigger name receivers that you'll have to face.
yeah, and he's probably going to play a little bit on the special teams, I'm assuming. You look at what we did. We took Chris Boggle from Florida, Aaron Blades, who's going to be winning. Both guys from out west.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems. Go ahead and finish real quick if you have anything else.
And then we have the two running backs transferring in, Jalen Berger and Jared Broussard. The two other running backs came in.
Yeah. So, when you look at, I mentioned Jeremy Bernard, I mentioned Kane Hauser, the track of recruiting, and then there's also so much that's gone on this offseason for you guys in the transfer portal. I do want to talk about one guy who I hear could be a really good impact player for you guys on the defense. Talk to me about Chris Bogle from Florida, 6'4", 240. People say he's good on the four-man front. People say he's ready for the next level in the NFL. Talk to me about a guy like him that you would expect to be a starting guy on the defense and could, help you guys on defense, really.
I think he can. Former four-star recruit, top 100 kid. We need help with the pass rush. He was two of our best pass rushers, and Jacob Panashuk and Drew Beasley. But Jake Petrowski's stepping up. And Chris Boggle with some Brandon Jordan coaching, Marco Coleman coaching. And he has the potential to be a top second round, early first round pick.
Right.
Go
ahead.
I think the biggest change for him is going to be the level of competition.
Right. And we stick to the defense. You mentioned the competition, but you guys bring in Scottie Hazelton. What are the expectations overall for the defense and with the defensive coordinator? First off, I'll ask this. Is it a hot seat for the defensive coordinator this year, or is it one of those where they want to take it slow since they have a bunch of young guys?
I think it's how it goes along the season. If we keep putting up pass yards, I would expect the new DC to come in, because you're not going to win by giving up 600 passing yards a game.
Right.
In Western Kentucky, he threw it 68 times on us.
Jeez, that's not good.
In we're gonna have to change up the scheme because how he's scheming it is an NFL-like scheme. But these are high school, college kids who aren't really ready to go to the NFL yet. The young guys. They have potential, yeah, but they're not ready in year 2.
Yeah. You guys bring back, and let me screen share this real quick and let's run through and really expand more on these players. But when you look at the roster, you look at it, they have officially updated it for the 2022 season. I'm excited. They got all the new guys coming in. We bring back guys at defensive tackle such as Simeon Barrow, Evan Bruning, Maverick Hansen. Talk about the guys up front. Some of those names that I mentioned: Derek Harmon, Jalen Hunt, Deshaun Mallory, Jacob Slade. Some of those guys, most of them in state in Michigan, but some of them are even out of state. Uh, do you expect to see those guys get better throughout the season? Is that where we're at with watching the defense? Like, if I turn on my TV each week to watch Michigan State, am I going to see a complete defense right away for the guys up front? Or is it going to take some time throughout the season? Like, where are we at with that?
I think once you hit Washington from there on out, it's gonna be stout.
Okay.
Brandon Wright, former running back, flipped over to defensive lineman. They plays in the Penn State game in the Peach Bowl. Same thing with Justin White. He was shot out of a cannon and sacked Kate McNamara in that Michigan game last year. Those guys stepped up to win that game in that fourth quarter. Simeon Barrow, Jacob Slade, Jalen Hunt were all in the face of McNamara.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing a decent group of 5 in Western Michigan, but then you got Akron. Like, it's Akron.
Yeah. It's Akron for sure. So we mentioned quite a bit of guys that are coming back. And by the way, we're talking Michigan State football with MSU #1 fan. So when you look at, let's see where we're at here. Talk about.
Feel free to drop the questions in too.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat, or any comments at all. Really, what's up, X-Wing Sports? Love you, buddy. Roll Tide. MSU sucks. That's all he's got, man. I mean, what are you gonna do? We do trash talk in this community, so
Yeah.
it happens. But so I do want to ask, stick to the defense just a little bit. When you get a guy back like Chris Bogle on the defense, you get a guy like Cal Holiday and the linebacking core, there's a lot of big names. The big question I have is, how can the defensive coordinator and Scottie Hazelton get the defense up to par where it can slow down teams like Michigan or Ohio State? And I know that we're talking about the big names in the Big Ten right there. I understand that. And I know that maybe it won't happen this year. But what's the first step? What's the go-to move to get it in that direction?
I think first off is changing up your whole philosophy from the scheme that we're in currently. And there's going to be tweaks and changes. We had some players switch positions in changing up the defensive scheme.
Right.
So it's going to be new for quarterbacks, like CJ Stroud. We get them October 8th. That is their first away game for the Buckeyes. So if the defense is red hot, I would expect it. Ohio State's main question is, how will the young guys up front hold up against the experienced veteran Michigan State defensive line?
Right. So, getting back to the offense real quick, your thoughts overall, and talk about whoever you want to, man. What are some of the big names? Um, you know, who does Peyton Thorne have to go to? How's the depth? Your thoughts overall on the receiving core for the Spartans this year and in 2022?
He's got a lot of weapons to go to. You got Powers Warren at tight end, Commissioner's son. You got Daniel Barker coming back, Tyler Hunt. You got Malik Carr, experience at tight end. You got Jared Horse coming back at left tackle, Brian Green coming in from Washington State. And you have a lot of receivers that probably will get playing time. Trey Mosley is probably going to be the number 2
Okay.
receiver. And Peyton Thorne is a dual threat quarterback. We've seen him lob it up last year. And Trey Mosley is Mr. Reliable. So his nickname's Bird.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so, would you say it starts with Trey Mosley at the receiving core? Because there's also, you guys also bring back Jaden Reed, right? Who I think
yeah,
had a chance to go. He had a chance to go pro, but he comes back.
for his 6th year, yep, he comes back. Him and Peyton Thorne, I think both of those guys will go to the NFL.
Right.
And they have
They're just
chemistry.
not. Yeah, they do have a good chemistry. I think I definitely saw that from last season.
And Jay Reboso is really good on his special teams, too.
Mm-hmm.
2 straight punt returns for touchdowns against Nebraska and Western Kentucky.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You did lose at least one guy in Jalen Naylor in the receiving core. Is it one of the experience from last year? I mean, obviously, when one guy leaves the field, another has to come in to replace him. But who is that newcomer this year that it takes the field and we watch and we say, this guy's going to be something special one day in the NFL?
I think it might be Antonio Gates Jr.,
Okay.
Mr. Speedy. I mean,
And
you had two guys.
he comes in as a freshman too, so I'm interested about that because you also have Jeremy Bernard on there, who we talked about a little bit.
It wouldn't surprise me if both of those guys took reps at that slot receiver position. I feel like Trey Mosley's going to fill that gap too.
Okay.
You can't just have one dude and Jay Reed catch every pass. It's going to be by committee. That's what I would go to. Because you're not going to play Akron every week. You're not playing Western every week. So
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Your competition with receivers, I mean, you got to watch out for Ohio State, and I say even watch out for your younger brother in Michigan. So, but you guys are definitely, I think, going to improve that position as the season moves along. You open up, and we'll look at the schedule. Lastly, but the next question that I have. Is getting back to the defense, how would you say the pass rush is or could be, and how could they show that this season? Because when we say a position group or a certain style of play or a player or whatever, we talk about, oh, it's been good, it's been good, it's been good, and you probably hear from the coach and hear it throughout the off season. How did they put it on the field is what I'm trying to ask.
Last season, it was good at times when we weren't beating ourselves. And this year, Michigan State made a change to an MFL trainer and Brandon Jordan, who's a pass rush specialist. He works with Max Crosby, J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt, and guys like them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be better. I think you have to wait to see a real competition like Minnesota to see how they fare. But it's going to be improved.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to be the case for a lot of teams out there because it was a defensive loaded draft, especially for like Georgia or whatever. You look at Jordan Davis and N'Kobe Dean, guys that left. Like Georgia's got to rebuild their defense. Michigan State, I don't think you guys necessarily have to rebuild, but you have to get off to a strong start this season. And much like a team like Georgia, it's one of those where you hope it gets better as the season progresses.
Right. And the only key guy we're missing is Kenneth Walker.
Yeah. So talk to me about that real quick. What does the run game look like without Kenneth Walker? Because you do bring back Jordan Simmons at running back, and I think Elijah Collins, don't you?
We bring back Collins, Simmons, Joyner, Broussard, and Berger, and a couple other guys. And it's going to be by committee, but I think there's going to be three-headed monster there. They each have an individual skill set. Last year, Kenneth Walker broke records.
Right.
I mean, had the longest play in Michigan State history. 94-yard touchdown run against Rutgers. 196 yards and 5 touchdowns against Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And really, when he went off on Rutgers, like, there's a video of him waving goodbye to the Rutgers defense. They had two speedy guys. Jacob Naylor had 3 of the 4 touchdowns. We also lose our kicker, Matt Coughlin.
You do bring back, don't you bring back Evan Johnson or Steve Rusnak?
Yeah. We also bring back Bryce Beringer.
Mm-hmm.
Had a 64-yard punt against Miami.
All right.
Miami wasn't who Miami was supposed to be, but what is your 2 watch Michigan State games for this season?
My 2 most watched?
Yep.
Shoot. I think, and I'll ask you the same thing, but I think for me, the two games I want to keep an eye on if I'm Michigan State, I'll watch the home game against Ohio State, and then I'll watch for now. Honestly, I think is Ohio State and Michigan, just because I think that it starts with them being the two biggest teams in the Big Ten.
I think it does there too with Michigan and Ohio State, but I think also Penn State rivalry
That's the
weekend.
final game. That's rivalry weekend right there.
So there's really, and it depends on how. I feel like Michigan State's going to find out who we are when we play Washington and Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to play Minnesota home at Maryland. Maryland, we play Ohio State, Wisconsin, home and home, back to back. Bye week, Michigan.
Yeah. So let me ask this then. I'm going to pull up the schedule, and I do want to get. I know I've asked you before already this off season, but things change from time to time. Before we get into predictions and everything, what would you say is what word, if you were the coach of Michigan State, what word, whether it be consistency, maybe you want a team to be like a family or something, stick together, what kind of word would you think Michigan State wants to focus on this year and going into each game each week?
I feel like for most of the games, it's going to be family and brotherhood.
Okay.
Until it's that October 29th game against Michigan. Then it's that brother fighting and all that. They call his little brother 2007.
Yeah.
Mike Hart, you gave us the fuel to beat you at your own game.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, we're 10-4 since then.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
good record.
If you're gonna make a comment, please back it up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher. Am I right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think I'll go back, forget this year with Nick Saban and Fisher. You go back to last off season. Remember, Jimbo said, we'll beat his tail when we see him. And guess what? They beat us. So I think you're right. You make a comment, you back it up. So let's dive in here. I really don't have much tonight, but I guess we'll at least for the remainder of the time, let's talk about some of these games here. Let's talk about the schedule. So let me see. I forgot to make one more banner. Let's see. Okay. So a schedule breakdown of Michigan State football, pardon my French. Western Michigan, Akron at Washington. Those games have game times. Minnesota, Maryland, Ohio State, Wisconsin, at Michigan, at Illinois, against Rutgers, against Indiana, and then at Penn State. Overall, what's a reasonable record you think for this year? Because I think I had you guys somewhere in there like 9-3. I think I had you losing to Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State.
I feel like it's going to be 10-2 or 12-0.
Oh, so if that's the case, you're saying you don't lose to all three of those, Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. So which one do you think you guys?
I think we lose to Ohio State. I think the other two are going to be more intriguing because they're rivalry games.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look
Right.
back at 2017. Penn State
Right.
comes into town, 3-hour rain delay, we end up winning it.
What game on here, you get that before in conference play, you get those three non con games. Um, a night game at Washington, what stands out about a team like that to you?
They got two quarterbacks who can really swing it. Michael Penix, Indiana, transferred out to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
They got a 5-star quarterback commit. Not sure what his name is, but Big Ten has struggled on the West Coast.
That's true. But you got to think this isn't playing Utah or Oregon. This is playing Washington. This is a team that, and I don't want to go bashing Washington or anything, but in all fairness, they have fallen off a bit since they made the playoffs in 2016. Not every year's been a decline, but maybe it's one of those where you just don't know what you get out of them. But I think either way, it is fair to say Michigan State is a better team.
Yeah, we should be 3-0 entering Minnesota. Fun fact, Peyton Thorne's dad is the offensive coordinator at Western Michigan.
Oh, that'll be
In the
that'll be fun conversation. in
Scottie Hazelton keeps Torment and Peyton Thorne and says, "When's that Western Michigan playbook coming?"
Right.
That was a Big Ten media day, so I mean, there's quotes from media days that were interesting. Especially
So,
from Pittsburgh, too.
right. So I do want to ask you, there's a 3-game stretch in here, and this is where it gets pretty tough. Ohio State, Wisconsin, and at Michigan. And I probably already know the answer to this. I know who you want to beat, but which likely out of these 3 teams right here, assuming all 3 of these teams are in good standing, you could possibly play 3 back-to-back-to-back ranked top 25 teams, probably even top 15 teams because Wisconsin starts out at 18. Let's say if they're having a good run at it. Which 3 of those games would worry you the most? Not saying it's Ohio State because they're Ohio State, but which one of those is most likely the must-win game? And I probably know that it's Michigan, right? Like that's the one you want to win each year, but is that the most likely of the 3 that you'll win?
I think that or Wisconsin because we have a bye week in between the two of them.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to need that between a high-power passing and the ground and pound of Wisconsin. You're going to need time to rest up before you play a so-called little brother on October 29th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, man, I've kind of run out of stuff to ask you. I didn't really have much for you tonight, but again, remind me again. You said 9-3 seems reasonable this year.
9-3 to 11-1.
Okay.
And with us playing Michigan on the road, that was Mel Tucker's first win. It was in Ann Arbor, too.
Yeah.
So if you're Jim Harbaugh, you have to figure out a couple of things.
Right. Is there, like I said, I mean, if you guys in the chat have any questions for MSU fan or anything related to Michigan State football, feel free to leave them in the comments. Is there anything else that we didn't touch base on tonight that you feel we need to cover as far as Michigan State goes for this upcoming season?
I mean, we can talk about Pat Narduzzi's comments at Big Ten or the ACC Media Days, where I think the Big Ten should get Pittsburgh and Notre Dame.
Okay.
Because
All right. So we got some conference realignment going on. Continue.
you have Penn State rivalry weekend.
Yeah.
You'd probably have Notre Dame in Michigan or Michigan State rivalry weekend. You have an old rivalry in Pittsburgh and Iowa. Those two teams used to play a lot.
Yeah, you'd get a lot of great games on rivalry weekend there for sure.
Like, who wouldn't want to see Penn State and Notre Dame?
I think those are two historic programs a lot of people would love to see.
That'd be Penn State Whiteout. That'd be really.
Or Penn State going to South Bend.
Yeah, either way. I mean, that's people are going to want to spend money for that game, so good money revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And Pat Narduzzi made comments at ACC Media Days about Michigan State.
Oh, he did?
Yep.
What'd he say?
He said about how they can win the Big Ten every year because they almost beat Michigan State in the Peach Bowl. And basically was still dwelling on that. Do you realize you have to get through Michigan State, Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State to win the Big Ten?
Right.
And Mel Tucker was asked about that in Media Days, and he said, quote, I'm going to get into things like that were proven on the field.
Yeah.
It was on the field, leave it there. Don't drag it off the field and harp on it. And I really think that's a good move by him not wanting to engage in that either. It just makes you look dumb as a coach.
I got you.
I mean, we had Nick Saban and Jimbo fighting, but that's a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, dude, your defense fell apart in the last 8 minutes. You're playing the third string quarterback. You don't have Kenny Pickett. Your best receiver wasn't great. And Addison.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just gonna waste everybody's time by talking about a game in December.
Yeah.
Like, move on.
I agree.
So that's pretty much all I have.
Yeah, I've had to run out of questions, man, but you gave us some good insight and just overall, I'll ask you this. As a fan, are you planning on going to any of the games?
I am going to try to. I'm hoping to get tickets for the Penn State game.
Oh, all right. And that'll definitely be expensive because that's a big rivalry, and it's on rivalry weekend this year for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be a good game.
I would say Maryland, but I got another game to go to down in Shippensburg that weekend. So
let me ask, so if you get tickets to the Penn State game, you go to Happy Valley. Have you ever been?
Yep. I went there a couple years ago with our band.
So what's it like?
It depends
I'm
on
actually curious.
It's either you're sweating or you're freezing. There's no
Okay.
comfortable game. It depends where you're sitting at too. The ticket
Right.
that I was looking at was like $120. 31 rows up in the end zone. I'd take it.
All right.
And don't forget me and Nate made that bet too.
Oh, which one? Oh, loser sings the
Yeah.
fight song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll take place here on Ballard Sports Media. Because I think I might. Well, October 29th, I don't know what I'm going to go live for that day, but we'll make sure we get it taken care of.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting game. If you had to
Yeah,
make a if you had to make a
go
home
ahead.
and home series for us for 10 years, who would it be?
Oh, like if Michigan State had a home and home for 10 straight years,
Yep.
I'd like to play you guys again. Give me Alabama.
I have actually I have a list.
Yeah.
Notre Dame should be permanent because that's a rivalry. I
Okay.
feel like Texas A&M, Georgia, Florida, Boston College, Auburn.
Auburn, Michigan State. I don't know if they've ever played.
Last time we played Washington, 1970. And I like to see a
Okay.
Michigan State, Arizona State repeat.
All right.
I feel like we should play Oregon too. How about Michigan State, Texas A&M?
Oh,
That
Hayden.
would
Yeah. What would you ever play one of Texas or Oklahoma?
I think we would. Yeah, I wouldn't mind playing Texas.
All right.
We'll go down in September, but they come back up in November. It's like
Yeah.
Miami. We'll down in their heat, so they should come up in our winter.
Yeah.
I feel like Alabama and Purdue would be a good home and home.
Bama and Purdue. I'd love to play teams like that. So we have a bunch of home and homes uh with different teams. Alabama does. We started this season with Texas. Michigan State's not on there. We got Ohio State. I think we got another Big Ten team. Uh, we get Indiana or somebody. Let me double check.
That's gonna be a walkthrough for Alabama.
Maybe we didn't get another.
I think Michigan
I guess
State
it was.
will play there
Oh,
more.
Wisconsin in 24 and 25 is the other Big Ten team I was thinking of.
That's gonna be popcorn.
Yep. Notre Dame 29 and 30.
That'll be
That's too far out to tell.
yeah. I really would love to have Missouri and Illinois renewed.
Yes. That'd be something.
I mean, if it's like if they were to have like a scrimmage put on TV, like that should be like a spring practice thing. Let's just hope there's no fights this year between Michigan State and Michigan,
Mm-hmm.
like there was back in 18.
Ballard, you got to get up to Madison and jump with us Wisconsin fans and tailgate with us. That's on my bucket list to visit, but you know me, I'm working to be a college football analyst, so hopefully I can reach the big time and visit all of you guys for sure.
Yep, Michigan State will be doing jump around.
Yeah.
I love that tradition at Iowa.
Which one?
At the end of every home first quarter in the away game, they wave to the Iowa City Children's Hospital.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
Even look, we're rivals, but we can partner up for that. We won't care.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State might have the best punter in the country. Bryce Berninger coming back.
I confess to that. He's got a strong leg.
We might have him play kicker too for us. We need him to.
I'm sure he could probably hit some 40-yarders for you guys. But yeah, man, that's good stuff. I'll say this: good luck to the Spartans this year. Hopefully, they have a good season, and hopefully, Mel Tucker. I mean, so let me ask you that. So, Mel Tucker, right now, how do you feel about him? Is he the coach? Is he the guy you want to keep around, or are you pretty close to looking in somewhere else? Because I would say he's done a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, we're keeping him 10 years, $9.5 million contract extension. He signed this
Okay,
in the middle of the season.
there you go.
Michigan State basketball coach Tom Izzo, he signed a lifetime contract.
I know that he's built a program there.
We're always going to be hard to beat in basketball. Like, we may not win every game, but we're going to make sure it's not a cakewalk.
Right. All right. Well, man, I'll let you. Anything else you want to share before we get out of here, man? It's always great talking with you and providing great insight on Michigan State and really just the Big Ten. You definitely know your stuff.
Yeah. I'm hoping to do a Michigan State Michigan stream if you and Nate want to do one the week of.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
definitely. I think I definitely would have to get you and Nate on for Michigan State, and let you guys fight it out a bit.
I mean, we're not as bad as Ohio State, but I mean,
Oh, right.
Michigan's right in the middle between the two schools. I mean, Michigan State had to pay a $10,000 fine
Right.
because of Michigan's 2018 game. Did you see that when Devin Bush was slashing our logo and all that?
I think I did see that actually. Yeah, that was tough.
I feel like it should have been handled better by the adults.
Yeah.
But for the rivalry, it's great, but the adults, come on.
Right.
I think this year, Mel Tucker was in that same situation. Turn your guys around, go back to the locker room, let things cool off here, and let them do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be the kind of team that doesn't fight a lot or at all.
Be a clean program, not a mean program.
Yeah. We'll have guys pulling guys apart from other guys.
Yeah.
We don't want nothing. Who was that in the armed forces bill? Missouri and was that Navy? Got into that fight?
It was Army. I remember I went live for that game.
That was nasty.
Yeah, it was.
What started that?
I don't even remember. That was like, was it halftime or the end of the game?
I don't know, but double security got called. I mean,
Yeah.
things like that, coaches really just need to relax and, like, you're supposed to be a mentor for these college kids.
Yeah.
However, have the experienced guys pull the younger ones out of the way? I mean, Michigan State got into it with Ohio State in the 13 Big Ten championship. McGarrett Kings, and I think was it Ryan Shazier got into it?
Yeah.
No, it was Jeremy Langford got into it with Ryan
Oh,
Shazier. And
yeah.
McGarrett Kings put his hand on Jeremy's shoulder pads, pulled him out of that, but yeah, we don't need none of that.
Yeah. It's always something going on in college football. I'm sure we'll see some fights this year, man.
It's
I don't
really,
I don't know.
there should be a rule for referees in any in-state rivalry.
Yeah.
Like 2018 with the whole Michigan State ordeal.
Hmm.
Keep players separated.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, I think that just about does it. I appreciate you coming on and talking Spartan football with me. As always, you give us great insight, and I know you're looking forward to the season just like I am. And anytime you want to do a stream like this, let's let's make it happen. Definitely, if I do find time. If I go live for a Michigan State game, would you be interested in maybe co-hosting it with me and we can both react to one?
Yeah, I mean, I can't do Western Michigan because I have a football game that night to march in.
Okay.
I'm just need to let me use my GoPro from my senior year. What channel's
Damn.
Nebraska playing Northwestern?
I think Fox or something. I'm not sure. That's actually a good question.
'Cause I have no idea. I won't watch it.
October 29th. I might go live again for Michigan State. Maybe. Just maybe. We'll see. I'll
I
have to
haven't-
double check what that looks like. Because I'm also doing something where some Bama fans are going to go live together for the Bama games. So my scheduling for what live stream I do on here, it'll either be a Bama game with everybody else. We'll call it Bama Boys. Um, or a game outside of when Bama plays because I'm not gonna stream a game if Bama's gonna be live too. So
What would be your top 3 upsets of the season?
oh, you got me there. I do think Texas over Bama is number one,
Yeah,
just
that's
because there's a lot of hype around the Tide,
yeah,
and it's Bama.
yeah.
Um,
I got Oregon beating Georgia.
that's two. And then really anybody over Ohio State. But I'll give it to you guys and say Michigan State beats Ohio State somehow. Isn't that game in Columbus?
No, it's in East Lansing.
Oh,
That's Ohio State's first road game.
they'll be tested for sure, man.
Especially the way how our defense is supposed to play. Like, you can ask any fan from Penn State. Sperm Stadium is not easy to play in.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's honestly, I feel like give me Western Kentucky over Indiana.
Wow.
I mean, Indiana don't know who their quarterback is yet. So, I mean,
True. That is so true, man.
I thought about just making. I'm really hoping if Michigan loses to Colorado, UConn, or Hawaii,
Hmm.
any of those three would be embarrassing.
Right.
But then they play Maryland over Michigan.
Maryland over Michigan. That's something because Maryland's supposed to have some improvement. They bring back Talia.
And they
I
bring
think they
back.
still don't they have Anthony McFarland at running back still, or didn't he transfer?
No, he's in Pittsburgh with the Steelers.
Oh, he was drafted.
Yeah,
That's right.
they
Yeah.
got King Jarrett and the two other big play receivers. And Maryland knows who their quarterback is. Michigan doesn't. Michigan
Yeah.
lost two of their coordinators. Maryland didn't. The only hard thing about Maryland is it's on the road. I still think Maryland can fight with Michigan.
I think so. That could be something. We'll see. Well, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on as always and giving us good insight with Michigan State and just really the Big Ten and college football. I'll
Is
give you
there,
the final word and we'll get out of here.
is there questions in the chat?
Doesn't look like it. It looks like everyone's kind of left, but it was. I still think it went well and it was a good
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah, for Illinois, just a fun fact. The last 2 years, we have played Big Ten West opponents on the road after
Hmm.
Michigan. We lost them both. Obviously, the COVID year, we lost Iowa 49-7.
Right.
And last year it was Purdue. Do you think
It,
Peyton Thorne has a case for the Heisman?
I think he should be on the list, and I think he should be on the watch list. I think if he just gets a good start and continues it throughout the season, I think he could make a good case.
I mean,
He's got to have like,
he broke Connor Cook's all-time passing touchdown in a season.
yeah.
I mean, the dude went 12 touchdowns and 2 picks off of play action. So, well, I'm gonna jump off of here, and thanks for having me on.
Always, man. Thank you.
Yep, see ya.
All right. Thanks
Bye.
to Michigan State fan
Yep.
for coming on here,
Yep.
and we'll see you guys next time. Love
All right.
y'all. I'll hit the thumbs up, and from a Bama fan, roll Tide.